Hi, I'm Brianna Flores, and I chose Dr. Victor Harris as my interviewee for this leadership interview. Dr. Harris is an FYCS professor here at the University of Florida, and I've taken a class with him, FYC3114, which was a parenting and family development class. And I have just seen a teacher that just really fosters a beautiful environment that students want to come to every week, and they learn so much. He brings in practical games, gets everyone laughing, and super involved in what he is teaching, and giving the students every week a time to, hey, do this, and like, let's come back next class and see the change that's happened because of doing this. So it's been a very cool experience to see him as a leader in a classroom, and to see him as a leader through Smart Couples that I took on campus, and just hearing more about what he does. And he leads a Smart Couples. He's in charge of the grant that he has, and he's able to open a couple of them in Florida. I think about 3 places in Florida, and it's been going really well. And seeing how he's balancing school, and balancing like just his daily life, because he has a family as well. So I asked him through an email if he would meet with me so I could ask him about leadership and what he does. And I thought I placed out a great email, and he did get back to me and said that he would be open to answering my questions. And I was really excited. And he happened to be teaching in my class that same week, so I was like, oh, I'll just talk to him in person and make it the setup. So I saw him in class afterwards and met with him, and I explained who I was, that I emailed him, and he was like, oh yeah, I just emailed you recently, and found out he didn't know that we were actually going to meet in person. So it was really funny that I'm learning that emails can be a very difficult way of getting information across, but he was very receptive to wanting to meet, and so we set a time to meet in his office the next week. So when I walked into the office during the interview, he had to slip out for about 5 minutes, so he just let me sit in his office. I was amazed by his office alone before I even talked to him. It was such a welcoming environment, very mellow and calming. He had pictures everywhere, like of his family, of him traveling with his wife. It was just really beautiful, and it kind of showed me a picture of like who he was and what he's done in his life. It was really cool. Some other things was like he had some great wording on the wall and encouragement, and just really cool things that like made me excited about what I could do someday. And he had a bunch of toys from his classroom that he had, so it was a good reminder of like everything I've learned. He also had a bookcase of so many like different things about the field he's in, cultures, relationships, and counseling, which was a lot. So that was shocking too. And he had amazing awards. And I saw one that was actually Teacher of the Year, and I was like, of course he deserves that. So he came back into the room, and he really shocked me, like, during the interview. I sat down, and I opened up and said my spiel of like, okay, here, would you like to know about a little bit about this interview? I shared what I was going to be asking, like little key things, and he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, before I start, is there anything that you want to ask me? And he just like sat back. He goes, how are you doing? Tell me a bit about you. What is the latest? And I was just kind of shocked, because I was in this like, this is what I'm going to do, plan this out, I'm going to lead this conversation, and then he just threw me off in like a second. And I just realized, man, this leader is so relational, so open, so good to like, no, I'm not going to put this interview first, let's put you first. So it really shocked me. I was not prepared, but he really cared about me and wanted to hear what my future goals were, what I was up to, and now he ended up wanting to give me a recommendation and just help me as a student to get into the next steps. And do something that he wished he would have done. It was very encouraging. But then we went on to the interview questions, and I was so amazed by just the way that he would sit there and pause, think about it, and then answer so surely and confidently, and didn't just throw out what he first thought was the best answer. He was very like, I want to give you what I can give you to help you to learn about leadership. So I was very comforted by that, because it felt like he was actually being a part of it, even though we only had a short amount of time and he had to be somewhere next. He was very like, no, I'm focusing on you right now. And after the 30 minutes, like, I need to go and do an interview. It was really cool. And so some of the key characteristics that he discussed was he shared some basic principles of his leadership with me. And so the first one was people first. Always give them the benefit of the doubt. The second one was do the right thing for the right reason. And the third was err on the side of mercy. So he was very authentic about his leadership and very like people-centered and kind of like a coaching kind of leader, and just super encouraging. And he had a very strong sense of core beliefs and principles that he like stuck to and lived out those with his leadership. So my perception of the individual after the interview, my worldview of him like grew even huger because I was shocked by the foundation of everything he was sharing with me was everything he was doing in his classroom. He wasn't just, this is how to be a leader. He was actually living out all the time what he actually believes a good leader is. And I also just really connected with him with his principles, because I also too have principles and core beliefs, and seeing that you don't have to lose those to be a leader is really cool. But to like understand that there are situations that might arise that might challenge your core beliefs, but it's okay. Like, use the people around you to get through and work together and find the great solution as a team. So I really loved how he was make sure that people's voices are heard. And I thought that was a really good leadership skill. So one thing that I really thought that would aid my understanding for leadership on a practical level was a piece of paper he has like on his desk that he wrote out to always remind him is perception over expectation and culture times lived experience equals reality. And so whenever you're dealing with people, whenever you're working with people and leading people, understand everyone has their own sense of reality. And that reality is not just black and white. It's actually all of this lived experience, their perception of what they grew up in, their expectation about what they grew up in and what they think might happen and what their culture was. And that changes their reality. That changes everything of who they are. And understanding like, okay, this is this person's reality. Okay, next, what's the next person's reality in this situation at hand? No, it's like, let's get to the root of this. Why do you have this reality? What life experiences have you gone to make this reality? And what perception made you think and believe this, or your expectation in your culture? And learning to lead within those boundaries is like radical. It's very radical. So I learned so much that just be passionate about what you're doing and don't just live paycheck to paycheck as a leader, but actually go all in, be passionate, bring others around you who are passionate, and leading will just be a fun thing to do as a team, to collaborate and change things together. So I am Brianna Flores again, and I chose Dr. Harris to be my interviewee, and this is my leadership interview. Thank you for your time.